Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode. Another fabulous chat, interview, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to be a brilliant chat all about PR from a slightly more celebratory lens. So we've had people on the podcast before about PR. This is somebody who is super fun, super high energy, loves all things disco like me, and she's here to chat about celebrating you. So today I'm talking to Jo Swann. Now Jo isn't that far from me actually. She's northern, based in Leeds in the UK. Jo has her own PR agency called Chocolate PR, which has just celebrated its 20th year, its 20th birthday, which is amazing. She is an author with her book called Celebrating You, and she's just such a champion of women, of people. She's here to cheer you on. Can't wait to bring her on and chat about this. So I always say the magic of technology. Let's bring Jo on and get chatting about today's amazing subject. Can't wait. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Thank goodness. I always slightly concerned about the technology not working, but we've brought you on. I've already done an amazing, fabulous, sorry, I can't say that, a fabulous introduction all about what you do, but I'm going to chat about that in a second. But first of all, you've got disco lights. I love it,
Well,
Joe.
I was like, shall I put these on? Shall I not? Is it a bit much? And I was like, no, we're going all in. We're going to have this conversation. So let's go all in with the lights. I knew you'd love it.
Oh, yeah. And this is it. So you're in my cupboard, my podcast pod.
I know, and it looks amazing. I love it.
Oh, I love this pod, but it's a shame I can't show you with my kitchen disco. I could have brought that energy, but the sound quality isn't that good. But that's why I'm
Oh,
loving it. So I've just
yeah,
introduced you as a fellow. I think I said about you're a fellow disco queen, and
too right.
yeah, I love that. So we'll chat about that in a second. But first of all, how are you on this? I don't even know what day it is, but yeah, how are you today?
I'm all right, and I'm definitely cheered up by the fact that I now have flashing lights behind me. So yes, it's been a busy week, and it's only Tuesday, but it's all good. It's nice. I like these conversations. It actually gives you time to breathe, doesn't it? In a way of like stop doing all the doing and just let's talk about what we actually care about.
Yeah, it does, and you're right. And I like to do this quite conversational, so it's almost like grab a cuppa and we'll just
Yeah,
have a little chat. And it
yeah,
does. It makes you sort of stop and I come off these really inspired, and the guests normally do as well. And it's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that's why I do what I do. And we're
yeah.
so
You
busy.
reconnect, don't you? Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you find this that our work it's got very similar vibes to it, where we're so busy helping other people uncover their stories, their
Mhm.
vibe, their mission, their why. I don't think we do it much ourselves. I don't know
Yeah.
if you find that. So this is chance right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking this for me. Absolutely.
Oh, amazing. Well, let's chat about I'm going to go straight into
Yep.
I was thinking about this. I've had people on before to chat about PR, but what you do feels different in a way because I love your energy. Obviously, disco queen, love it. But you bring this real energy to it. Let's chat about your book first of all, celebrating you, and
Yes.
just your vibe overall. I'm all about brand vibes and that energy that you bring to it. Talk me
Yeah.
through that. How much of a cheerleader you are, the good that you
Yeah.
see in people. Let's start there. It's slightly different to usual.
Okay, cool. So this is interesting because this really has taken me back like full circle of why I wanted to do PR in the first place. So when I first started out in PR, I was actually I was really young, so I wanted to be a journalist. And my first kind of entry into it was when I got to write for our local newspaper when I was about 14. I went and did a bit of work experience and I was allowed to interview people. And they literally just said, just pick this phone up, call this woman, this is her story, have a chat with her, write it down, and create an article for us. And if it's any good, then we'll use it. And they used it. And it was so exciting at that age to kind of think, oh my God, like I'm able to help this person tell their story. And even then, I knew that that was the thing that I was excited about. So that was why I sort of went into this path in the first place of that storytelling side. And then over the years, I started to work with bigger companies and worked with big corporates and massive brands, and we got to do some really cool stuff. But ultimately, that storytelling side got a little bit pushed away as you start doing all the big brand corporate, like, strategy stuff that you don't always still get hands on with that side of it. So the storytelling bit came back to me when I revisited kind of PR like from my heart of what I really wanted to use it for about sort of 6 years ago when I started working more with particularly female entrepreneurs and founders. And I just found that they were not understanding that they could use the power of PR to tell their story. So I kind of fell back in love with PR when I realized that actually I could have a real impact helping individuals in business understand that they could use PR, whereas they previously discounted it, that those people were not ready in any way, shape, or form. So those people were not in a place where they were ready to shout up and to shout out about that, what they were doing. So I kind of inadvertently took on this role of champion and cheerleader to kind of go, no, you can do this. Like, I know you can do this and I can help you. I can show you how it's possible. And I can show you behind the scenes of PR how it works. So it doesn't need to be so scary. And I can help you connect to actually why you need to share your story. So I kind of came back to, you know, why I originally wanted to be involved in the media. And it was that storytelling side. But as I've worked more particularly with women, I started to realize that they are scared and they don't feel comfortable in often connecting to their story or being seen or being visible. So that's where the cheerleading, the champion comes, of like that little, like, gentle little push and the arm around your shoulder to just go, no, you've got this and you deserve to be celebrated. So yeah, that's the vibe for sure.
I love it. And I just saying that, I can sort of sense the passion, the excitement, and how you reconnected. And it's funny that when you talked about corporate,
Hmm.
I felt like this physical reaction, and you showed it. It was like, oh, there's no personality to it, is there? And I think that's really key in
Yeah.
your story, that you've kind of come back full circle, and that you're the champion, the cheerleader of it as well. Because I
Yeah.
find that, it's not about you, but things feel a bit strange out there at the moment. Things are a little bit quieter. We've got a lot of noise from marketing people and gurus, and I think that's always been there. But
Mm,
sometimes a lot of the advice they give, it almost misses the person. It's almost
mm,
like, just do this, just follow that formula,
yeah.
just do this, and they kind of miss out the whole, exactly what you're addressing is, you know, that fear.
Yeah.
And we can say to anybody, can't we, just do this and you'll get this result, but
Yeah.
it doesn't account for all these
There's,
blocks. So I just
no,
love that
exactly.
you're,
There's a lot of gaps in between, isn't there, to get
yeah,
there? There's a lot of things you have to do and be to be able to do that. Yeah.
yeah, it's not easy, is it? I mean, how about yourself? This is interesting, because when people ask about
Mm.
me, so they turn it on me and say, right, what's your mission, what's your why? And I'm so used to, again, helping other people, that I
Mm.
almost feel like a rabbit in a headlights. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. But how do you feel about it? How is this journey for you been, of you
Yeah.
having to be more visible and you being vulnerable and sharing your story? Or
Yeah.
is that something that you maybe didn't do for a while because you're so busy helping people that it's
Mm.
easy to sort of step back in yourself? I'm not sure how I'm trying to say that, but you being vulnerable and telling your story.
Yeah. So I actually did a talk at an event last week about celebrating you and the power of PR. And one of the slides that I put in there was my very first brand shoot. And oh my God. So well, it wasn't my first one, but it was the first one since I'd kind of changed this direction to try and connect with more entrepreneurs and women in business and stuff. So, you know, the sort of ones that are so you, like, they've got to be you. You've got to really bring yourself into these shoots. And I found this old picture, and it was me sat behind a laptop with this awful, like, sort of really fake smile, almost as if I was doing like a cheesy thumbs up, like, yay to me, sitting behind a laptop. And oh my God, it's the worst picture. And then the other picture of that time was a picture of me with two of my clients, because I'd taken two of my clients to my brand shoot because I did not want to be the center of attention. So
Oh,
it's very much a thing for me that I've really had to work on this. So no, I hated all of that. I felt really nervous about stepping into a personal brand, because I'd built the business as Chocolate PR for years and years and years and years. So to have to put me at the forefront of that as an individual was something that was really uncomfortable. So I do absolutely know what that feels like. And yeah, it's really scary and it's really terrifying, and it's a lot of internal stuff that comes up that stops you, isn't it? And I actually connected with a coach sort of back then, like about 6 years ago, and it was all around self-worth, and it was a lot of imposter syndrome work I had to do, because she was basically saying, I do not understand why you are not showing up as this expert who's got like nearly 20 years experience, who can absolutely just come in and dominate this space. Why are you dipping your toes in, like tentatively going, hi, like, hi, I'm here, I can help you if you want, but like pay me £2. And she was like, why are you, I don't understand why you're not owning it. And so we had to do a lot of work around actually why was that, you know, and a lot of it was early on stories, you know, things that have happened to you in your childhood. Nothing massively traumatic from my perspective, but just things that had really stuck in terms of not feeling good enough, or, you know, not feeling clever enough, or not feeling pretty enough, or whatever, in terms of being seen. And so I had to work through a lot of that. So I think what we bring is we bring the empathy of that. And on the back of that work with that coach, we actually developed our first online program, which is called Dare to Be Seen. And it just came from the heart. It literally came from the heart of like, I know that this was really, really, really weird. And I'm going to help you do that bit of work first to dare to be seen, so that you can then share yourself out there with the world. So yeah, it's very personal to me.
Yeah, I love it. It's interesting. This podcast has had a few reincarnations name wise now, and I may have to change it
Mm.
again for slight legality, which I'm like, no, it's a lot of work.
Oh.
But different names have been like, I've got a t-shirt that I used on a brand shoot that was Dare to Be Different. I've said about
Mhm.
Dare to Being You. So that definitely resonates with me, because it is
Yeah,
scary stuff that we're asking people to do. And I
yeah.
guess what you're saying there, I really resonate with. In the past, I've been like, yeah, I'll cheer you on. Right, let's show you. Be yourself, put yourself out there. And then that, you touched on a word there, imposter syndrome.
Mm.
I felt that myself. I don't know if you've had this, but when you have hidden yourself a little bit and held
Mm.
back, you're there pushing everybody else out,
Yeah.
holding back. And that creates a real disconnect. It did for me energetically. I was like, how
Mm.
can I be seen to be sort of pushing you forward?
Yeah.
Consciously, they're probably looking at me going,
What are you doing about it? Yeah, exactly. Because you can shout really loudly from the sidelines, can't you? Like, yeah, do that, do that, do that, do that. And then if you're not stepping into it, then there is that question mark. So yeah, I just felt like I just had to launch myself in, uncomfortable or not, do a proper brand shoot that actually really brought out my character. And my book, right, was 3 years in the making. Because I signed up to it knowing that I could write a book and knowing that I should be writing a book, but then I didn't feel in the place to put it out there into the world, and I didn't feel like I had my own stamp on it. I didn't feel like I had a clear enough identity of what I was doing with it for it to really make, you know, find its place. And so I started writing it, hated it, ripped the whole thing up, chucked it. Abby was going, "Jo, what are you doing? Like, why? What are you doing with this book?" And I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to write it right now. And then finally, this sort of whole vibe of celebration came to me in terms of, no, you need to bring this energy of making it less scary, of trying to get rid of some of this fear and heaviness. There can be quite a lot of heaviness around, like, you just got to do this and get visible, and like very masculine energy. And I was like, I don't want to be that person, like just pointing that finger going, you must do this. I want to try and find a way that people can sort of ease into it in a way that they can enjoy, and actually that they can enjoy that process. So when I started to think about this vibe of celebration, and actually the year that I wrote the book, that was our sort of word for the year. And everything has come from there. So everything that we've sort of evolved from a branding perspective and the book has come from that word of celebration, because it just felt right. It felt like, no, this is what it is. It's about celebrating you and what you bring to the world, and you as a person and an individual, and not trying to be anyone else, and not trying to compare yourself to anyone else, but celebrate the actual things that make you different. And so that just then it just flowed. Like once I knew that's what I was doing, it was just like, yeah, it came out. So
yeah. And that shows, that's the power of kind of what I do really, brand strategy, because people will race ahead and they want these beautiful, they might go and get book a brand shoot and it looks amazing, but they don't feel connected to it. You know, they've not done that
yes.
inner deep work. Like if you'd not have sat with that and the uncomfortableness of it, digging deep and getting into that celebration, it might seem like such a minuscule thing. It's just one word. Yet
Mm,
that has unlocked this whole vibe. I'll bring that word back in.
absolutely.
It's brought it all to the surface. So
Yeah.
in a way, I just love that you said that, because I am constantly saying it and I feel like I'm saying it on repeat sometimes. I'm always like, do that deep work first.
You
Even if
have.
you've raced ahead, I pull people back, come
Yeah.
back, sit here, do the work.
Yeah.
But like you said, with that compassionate edge, because all sorts is going to come up, isn't it? When they do that
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
there's going to be so many stories. I mean, what is your top tip
Yeah.
for when you finally broke through? And I'm saying broke through. I don't think we ever fully break through as women, especially. I think we're always
Mm,
a little bit back
yeah.
from where we probably could be.
Yeah.
I won't say broke through. From breaking through, what was your biggest mindset hack or the biggest thing that you tapped into to get you past that point?
It was pretty hard talk from Andrea, who was my coach, and she was just basically saying to me, like, what are you doing all this for? Why have you given up this corporate, like these corporate gigs? Why have you given up all of those, massive projects and massive budgets and whatever to do this now? Why have you done that? And I was like, because it's not right. It's not right that people are not understanding that they can use the power of PR. It's not right that all these incredible female entrepreneurs are out there and they're doing all of this incredible work, but they're not being seen because they're too scared. And she was like, so how does that make you feel? And I was like, really freaking cross. And so I was actually driven by the frustration that something needed to change, that I knew that I could do something about it. So when you know that you have the power and you actually have skills to be able to make a change that needs to happen, I think that's the thing you focus on. You focus on the fact that that is your absolute mission, and you have to get visible to achieve that. It's just a part of the process. So, by me playing small and faffing around and fannying about and not being brave enough to kind of go, no, look, hi, look, I'm here and I can help you. Then all that was happening was more and more small businesses were not being seen. And so they were feeling like they were going to fail. And it was that passion and that kind of determination of like, no, I'm not gonna just sit back and let that happen when I know that I can be a part of the other side of that coin. So yeah, I think you have to be driven by some quite strong emotion to get yourself through it.
Yeah, you do, 100%. Again, it comes back down to your values, your story. A lot of things I'm saying at the minute is about sharing your voice. It's finding your voice.
Mhm.
Again, daring to share it, daring to share what could be seen as an unpopular opinion elsewhere. So we have to dig
Mhm.
deep on this, don't we? And that's another scary bit, is like, well, what if I
Yeah.
say that and people don't like me? What if I say that and people troll me? Or just, I mean, depends what stage you're at, whether you get trolls. It's amazing if you do. But
Yeah.
even myself recently, I find myself saying a lot more. And I don't know if it's Joe, honestly, I keep thinking it's because I'm perimenopausal. And I think I'm just getting a bit ranty in my old age. So much so that I'm bringing out like a mini video series. If you want to be on it, and if you do have a rant you'd like to do, it's called Rants with Carly. I've recorded one so far.
Right. I
Got
love
people
it.
booked in. So anybody listening, check that out. It will be on YouTube soon. And it's just about exactly what you said. It's digging in, finding that sort of something that we're passionate about, we're
Mm.
against. And it's really hard then, because I was thinking, hey, do I do this rant? Can be quite negative. But I love
Mm.
what you said. To me, it's taking things we're against, but
Yeah.
switching it into this positive result.
Yeah.
So the people that don't like that as well, that don't feel comfortable with it, but might have no idea why they do. They might think, why isn't that working for me?
Yeah.
Should I be doing it that way? Like I always say bro marketing. You've touched on it there about this toxic,
Mm.
masculine, passive aggressive edge to marketing.
Yeah.
And you've probably got women that are going, but that's not for me. So am I going to
Yeah.
fail? Am I never going to
Exactly.
get anywhere because I can't do that? So these rants,
Exactly.
I like to twist it and say, right, well, what's the antidote to that? And in a
Yeah.
way, Joe, you are the antidote. So you are a change maker in your own right in PR. You're bringing that, aren't you? You're bringing that energy of, well, you don't need to do it that way. You can do it this
You
way.
don't need to do it that way. And I think the other thing is that people think that PR is all about ego. They think it's all about, oh, I want to be everywhere. I want my face splattered everywhere and I want to be famous. And it's not about that. It's PR is just about giving you a leverage, a platform, the power to have a voice and to have those discussions. So you're talking about, what do you want to rant about? What's the thing that gets you cross? And we really try and get people to tune into that from a PR perspective, because we're asking, what is the thing that you want people to think about? Because PR is about connecting with people on quite an emotional level. It's not about let's just shout at people about what we do and let's just try and shape people to realize that we're impressive. It's not about any of that. It's about actually trying to get people to think as a result of the content that you put out there. So having a rant, that's the perfect kind of PR angle. What is it that you've got that you want to say to the world? And let's think about how we can get that out there. So yeah, it's a different approach to marketing than it's not as salesy as people might think. It's much more about emotion, communication, connection, and those sort of softer elements.
Yeah, and no wonder when you're chatting about it yourself, Joe, that passion coming through, no wonder corporate had to go for you. And
Yeah.
it's no wonder, is it? Because to me,
It's killing
corporate
my
just,
soul,
yeah,
literally.
I was about to say it's soulless. There's just nothing to it. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. I think what I'm taking from that as well, and people listening, that sometimes we end up stumbling into opportunities along the way. We can be led by money, possibly, or just fear that what if I don't get these other clients that I really, really want? So this opportunity comes up, I'm just going to jump on it. yet it sucks the life out of you. Have you had that where when you were transitioning from corporate
Mm.
into this, did other
Mm.
opportunities? Because I always think this, I always think the universe always throws us some last minute tests, doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
you want to leave corporate, how about this juicy offer? I don't know. Did you have anything like that where it tested your resolve, that when you were switching, that you had these opportunities that you still had to kind of dig deep and say no to? Or was it quite a smooth move across?
Do you know what? I think it was quite smooth because I literally stuck two fingers up and was like, I'm not doing that anymore. So in a way, I was very clear in my own head that I was done with it. So we kind of resigned accounts, which is a very dramatic thing and drastic thing to do. Yeah, so we kind of pushed it away, to be honest. But the thing about opportunity is the opportunity that happened was the door opener. So a friend of mine had been talking to a lady who was setting up a local networking event in our local area for female entrepreneurs and asked me to go and speak to them about PR. And that was my light bulb moment of going to speak to this group of people who were on my doorstep, who had all left corporate and set up their businesses and were sat at their kitchen tables thinking, how am I going to make this work? Like, I don't think I can do this. And me to be able to go in there and go, oh my God, your stories are amazing. And it gave them a new energy. And then for them to realize actually, oh, there are ways that I can promote myself and can share what I'm doing and get people excited about what I'm doing. That gave, me the focus to go, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my time. So that arrived at the right point. So I think there's something there in terms of that positive interception, if you like.
Grace, I'm a firm believer of this. I think whatever we're holding on to, and this could be in life, can't it? This could be friendships, relationships, something that we know deep down that we need to make a change, that we're not feeling connected to it for all sorts of reasons. We've all been there where we just can't make that move just yet. But there is something powerful about, I say, sticking two fingers up, telling the universe. I mean, for anybody actually, this, it won't be when it's going out, but tonight is a full moon, isn't it? And I am so into that. Saying your intentions out loud. I look like a crazy woman. Sometimes I do it in the car driving around, look at the moon and start saying intentions to it if I've forgotten to do it elsewhere. But there's something powerful in that, like setting our intentions, closing the door, making it really obvious, making it big and intentional to yourself as much as anything else. That door closes, other doors open. But it's that closing the door that people are scared of because they feel like closing that door. What if they close it? Oh, I like this analogy. What if they close it and they're literally stood in a room by themselves and nobody comes knocking? That's the fear, isn't it? They're not, it's that trust that that next door is going to open. Do you find that a lot with people that come to you? Do they have that fear about it?
They do, because when they've been successful in corporate, they're used to a certain level of recognition and a certain level of achievement and a certain level of competency as well. And then you start in business and you feel like you're at the bottom of the bloody ladder, don't you? You feel like you're literally like trying to claw yourself up from the bottom. And so I think people do really feel that of like, oh my God, what have I done sometimes? Can I make this work? And then the more they consume online from social media and about, all the comparisonitis of people doing these crazy launches and, massive, massive monetary months, then they start to feel the pressure. So one of the things that I love about the work we do is it takes people really back to their mission and their message and their core. So when we're getting them press ready, we have to get them really connected with that change that they want to make, really connected with what they're actually here to do, because that's what we've got to sell to the media. We've got to get them to follow these people on their mission, not just tell them that they've got a new business. Like, well, what? Why does it matter? And so actually that work that we do to really help them connect with their mission helps them then go on and be more confident in the other areas of their business. So that's one of my favorite things, that when we see people get press coverage, we see them recognized in the media, it's actually the confidence that they get from it, as well as the confidence it brings their ideal clients, that you see them rise and you see them step up and you see them start to believe in themselves. Because, well, if a journalist has put me in this magazine, then I must know what I'm talking about. And it's almost like that sense check of themselves. So I think that really helps. That really helps them with the confidence as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because I think, again, we've all been there, we can all resonate that, where we feel so scared to move on, to make that big step. And I guess what you're doing, they come to you, they know they want to do this, or they've maybe being told they should. I bet you probably get that. A lot of them come to me and it's like, I know I should be more visible. I should this. And it's like, not feeling much of a want here.
Yeah.
Get this going, because for you can't go and put them on a national stage and that energy come out, where like,
Mhm. No,
I'm not so sure.
exactly.
So
We've got to really hype them up to be that powerful person to show up. Yeah.
that must be tough. I mean, do you have people like that that have come to you because they're making big investments? They've been told they should do that, should do that. PR has come up and they've come to you, maybe missing your vibe altogether. They've just seen
Mhm.
you somewhere. They're
Yeah.
not getting the celebratory feel, but they're going, PR is just a tick box.
Mm.
Do they come to you where you can feel that lack of energy in a way and how you spin things around? Because I can imagine you doing that so well.
Some people do come and they just like, I just want to get a few trust tags. I just need to be able to put it on my marketing, on my logos, put all the media logos on there. And I just need to be able to put that on my sales page. Or my coach has told me that I need to do this. Or yeah, you do get some people like that. And ultimately, that's not a place where we want people to be, because what do I do with that? I'm like, well, how am I going to celebrate you? Like, what is it that you actually care about? So you just have to start unpicking it a bit, and you just have to, go in and actually get to the core of what, okay, so just let's start from the beginning and just tell me why you're doing this. Tell me why you're here and you're not in corporate. Tell me what it is that you want to change. And you just get those conversations going, and then they sort of get excited about it, and the
Yeah.
options and the possibilities.
Oh, I love it. Have you had this is a question that's just popped to mind. This is why this conversation is just all over the show because I just think say it. But I bet you've had because I get this in the work I do. And to start with, it was quite uncomfortable. But I bet you do. Do you get a lot of tears? Those light bulb
Yes,
moments where, yeah,
loads.
let's talk about those. We're women. I don't want to use the whole we're emotional thing. I hate that. But we are connected to ourselves. There's deep
Yeah,
work going on here. So yeah,
yeah.
how do you deal with that? How do you take it from that place of probably almost not despair, that's the wrong word. But I bet some of this is quite hard hitting to learn that they actually have a story they didn't know they had.
Yeah, again, it was one of my favorite parts of it, though. So we create media bios for people, which is basically where their life and their story is on a page, well, several pages. So we find ways to dissect all of this out of people, and then we relay it back and we mirror back to them how freaking amazing they are, and their journey, and what they've achieved, and what they've done, and how it all makes sense, and how it all links together. And usually that's the point where you get tears, because usually that's the bit where they're like, oh my god, like, look what I've actually done, like, look what I've overcome, and yes, I need to do this because I need other people not to feel this or experience this, or yes, because there's injustice here that I need to fix. So you really find that people do get emotional when they read something written about them that they haven't written, that comes through my eyes, or the eyes of my team, where we really see you as a person and what you're doing, and we are here to celebrate that. So when someone else is giving you that kind of love, it can be quite hard to take sometimes.
Yeah.
So we definitely get tears at that point. We also quite often get tears if someone has, if it really matters to somebody, and then they've been given a platform. So let's say they've been given an interview, or they've been given a feature piece or something, and they feel like, right, I'm doing it now, I'm on my path, and I'm actually making a difference. That realization, when they kind of realize, and they've maybe got people inboxing them saying, oh, I've read your story and it really made a difference, like, thank you, because I needed to hear that. That's again where you get emotion, because you're like, oh god, oh yeah, so I've done this thing, and even if I just help that one person, that's like worth it. So it's
Yeah.
very connected. It is very, very connected. It's very emotional.
I feel a bit emotional as we're chatting about this because I can feel so much of that. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of what comes up with me, and again, I probably said this on repeat on this podcast, but in a way, that's good. We need to say these things on repeat. That just that part there about the fact that we're making a difference. It's not just about us. And I think we internalize this. I don't want to keep saying as women, but we do. We make
Mm.
this about us. We don't want to be seen. It's very much conditioning. It's very deep
Yeah.
rooted. We don't want to be seen as showing off. We don't want to be seen
Yeah.
as anything but this good girl that sits quietly. But really, we've got to sort of flip it, haven't we, and make it about the people that you're going to inspire, the people that are
Exactly.
going to come to you afterwards and thank you for this work.
Yeah.
How do you find that when people come to you and they feel like it's all on them, eyes on me? I don't really want. Well, they might have come to you thinking they want this PR or knowing they
Mhm.
do, but when it comes to the crunch, they might want to back out. They might think it's just I feel too vulnerable. Feel too on display.
Yeah.
But I'm asking it because I know the answer already, but so I do this a lot of mine. But that's switching it into what is this doing for those people? Have
Yeah.
you got any top tips for people that might feel like that, where they're contemplating PR or just in general? How we make it about the people that you're going to help?
like you say, it's exactly just flipping that switch. It's just thinking about why you're doing this in the first place and how much different you could make somebody's life by them just learning that they're not alone. And often that's just what people need to hear. So if you share your story and someone resonates with that story, then you don't know the impact that that could have. It could completely change their path. If you know, if you've managed to share some tips because you've actually been through some development or you've done some learnings and you can give them some direction of actually actionable things that they can do, again, like how amazing is that? Because you've got to think kind of why you're put on this earth in the first place. I know we're going a bit deep now, but you've got to think about what is your actual role here? Like, what are you here to do? And why have you been through all that? Like, why? Well, there's a reason. It's because you're here to be that person that's then the guide for others. So I think it's about just seeing yourself as that trusted guide, you know, somebody that can take people on a more positive path. And to be a guide, people need to be able to see you. They need to know that you're there. So that's your work that you've got to do to be able to help them find you.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that we're going deep on this because I think it is deep. It is deep. You know,
When
we
you get into it, it kind of is because you've got to
yeah,
know why you're doing it, you know? So
you do. We can't just say back to that almost like basic advice that people are given about just be more visible, just be this, just post every day, just do this. It's not going to connect if you've not
no.
done this, if you're not feeling connected to it. But let's talk about, this seems to link on to, and you must have this so many times where people come with that, you know, that have been through actual trauma
Yeah.
and their pain becomes their purpose, that becomes
Yeah.
their story.
Mm-hmm.
That must be really difficult for you. Some people come to you and it's been really hard for you to hear, for one. That cheerleading in a way, that energy probably comes down a little bit because you're thinking how to sensitively turn
Mm-hmm.
this into this story and
Mm-hmm.
how it's going to impact people in that way. But how do you deal with that when somebody comes to you with a really traumatic story that they want to tell?
Yeah.
That must be so hard.
So this is really interesting actually because we've had a lot of problems over the years building a team. So recruiting people who actually understand this kind of PR is really difficult. And and time again, we've had people who like think that they get what we do, that sorry, I don't know what's going on with my voice. That you know have looked us up and have gone, yeah, I want to be a part of what you do. It's amazing that you empower people, blah blah blah. And then they come and then we introduce them to some clients and we give them some projects and they're like, I can't actually do this. Like it's too much. It's too big. It's too deep. Like, so we've had members of staff who have said, I can't do this because I can't deal with listening to these people's stories. And I just found that absolutely mind blowing because for me, I'm in awe of every single client that we work with. And just there's just so much love for them in terms of I cannot believe that you are still standing and you are smiling and you have been through all of that. Like there's a massive, I suppose, empathetic approach, like connection from how I respond to those people. Um and I've been in the coaching world for a little while. You know, one of my colleagues is actually a qualified coach, so we have got that support to be able to offer people if they really feel like they're struggling. But I think from my side, it's just the awe of like what they've been through. So we do still celebrate them, but we just don't necessarily do it all with like pom poms and party poppers. But we're doing it from a place of we need to celebrate like how strong you are. We need to celebrate what you've learned and how you have got to this point because look at all of that. Oh my gosh, like that is a lot. And you know, they come to us when they're at a point of they've come through the trauma, obviously. So we don't deal with people who are in the middle of the trauma, and we wouldn't. Um, so it's people who have learned how to process it, have understood that they need to now speak, you know, from this place of empowerment and positivity. So we don't ever encourage people to just tell their story and like it be all woe is me and doom and gloom. They've got to have come out the other side to be able to offer that positive you know approach of where they're going with it. So yeah, there is still that celebration element involved, definitely.
Yeah, I love that. It's the saying, isn't it? I always get this mixed up about this, share the scar, not the wound. And
Yes,
it's so
exactly
true,
that.
isn't it? I think I've heard people say it as a messy middle. And have you had that where people have come to you and you've had to, because I talk about working with dream clients, only being really clear on boundaries in a way, who you will work
Yeah.
with, who you want, what you will take on what you want.
Yeah.
Have you had people that have come to you in that messy middle, still
Yeah.
traumatized, which is maybe they think they've come through it, and you unearth something and you're like, I don't think you're ready to tell this story. Have you had that?
We have had that. We have had that. And if they're not emotionally ready to tell me their story, there's absolutely no way I'll put them in front of a journalist, because you've got to be really strong at that point. You've got to really know what your boundaries are and what you're prepared to share and what you're not, and how you're empowered by this story. So yes, we absolutely have had that. And we've also had people who are still kind of in the middle of the messiness of sort of legalities of some of bits of their story. And if you're in that place, then we're not in a good place to go either, because we don't want to, be risking other things that are at play. So yeah, you've definitely got to come out the other side before you start sharing.
Yeah, you don't want all the legal teams coming at you, do you?
No, of course not.
Not at all. You can just
No.
imagine it. That's something, again, we're going to go a little bit deeper here before we probably come a bit lighter. And I love this. I love this sort of chat. I think we start, in a way, it's like the work that we do. We start sort of bright and bubbly before we do go a little bit deeper, a bit darker, and then we'll bring it back out, celebrate again. Let's talk about something I saw on your, because I was doing a little bit of research, not a huge deal, but I always look at the posts that you've posted recently, and it was at the back of the big festoon. I mean, first of all, how amazing to be part of that. Amazing. I couldn't make it to this one. I've got my girls, I have 50-50. I always have them Thursday to Friday, so I couldn't be there. But how amazing. But there's a post that you wrote afterwards about that this is not your style normally, that it felt heavy, that the way at the minute, and this, anybody listening in the future, this is we're recording this in, what date do you want? Is it April? May?
April,
Nearly May.
yeah. Nearly May.
My year. It's nearly May 2024, probably when this comes out, it might be. And things do feel a little bit heavy out there. It's really weird. We've come through these really tricky few years. We've come through the pandemic. We've come through cost of living, which I guess that carries on.
Yeah.
It's tough out there. And I love that you approached that, because you were saying this is not normally my energy.
Yeah.
Chatting to people that are quite high vibe. I think it's recognizing that, isn't it? It's still, how do we keep that energy going, but get some real talk in there as well? So how are you finding that in what you're doing, just that heaviness, and how you work through it with people?
I think the heaviness, it's a lot to do with what you consume, isn't it? So it's a lot to do with what you buy into and how much of the world's problems you're like happy to take on, or how much you can really super focus yourself on your path and your mission. But I think I just felt like I needed to recognize it, because I spend so much time going, whoop, whoop, this is amazing, and we're celebrating this, and we're doing this, and we're doing that. And actually, a lot of the conversations that I've been having that week were around, oh my God, I'm finding everything really hard, and everything's slower than it should be, and I'm not getting the engagement, I'm not getting connected people as I did, and it's just feeling a bit of a slog. And my answer to that is exactly what your answer to that would be. Well, we've just got to shine that a little bit brighter then, haven't we? Like, if we are still those people who are trying to be those guides and those cheerleaders and those champions, we have to shine a bit brighter to encourage other people to do the same. And it's so competitive out there at the moment. Like, the people are just making noise for the sake of making noise. So how do you really connect? Well, it's with character and it's with authenticity. And I hate that word, but it is with just genuinely like showing up as yourself. And actually, do you know what? Being a bit more playful. Like, in this heaviness, my reaction has kind of been to go the other way and like prance around in sparkly outfits with disco balls. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like you need to break it somehow and just give people a chance to be a bit more joyful. And if your work does that, then that's absolutely something that you should be shouting about.
Yeah, love it. I'm always here for some glitter, sequins, disco balls. That's totally my vibe. But it's right. And something that came to mind as you were saying that about shining brighter. A bit of a cliche, but it is that those guys shining brighter, it's lighting the way, isn't it? We are literally lighting the path for them to follow, but they might feel like they're in those dark places. I think if you take on too much of what's out there at the minute,
It's
but
easy to be dragged down, definitely. Yeah. So I think that's about conserving your energy, isn't it? And setting your mindset up in the right way. So listening to the right things, finding the inspiration where you need to find it, whether that's through podcasts or, what that's through, your little injection of energy. And I find that I need that throughout the day. I need little things to just put me back in the right frame of mind, in the right state. Because it's quite easy when you're overwhelmed with so much stuff going on how do you still then pick yourself back up to be actually the real you, and to really be able to put your energy out there? And you've just got to reconnect, haven't you? Just find different ways to reconnect.
You do. It comes down to, again, me and you're very connected in this, that we're telling people to, and I'm the same. I hate the word authenticity, but I find myself saying it 'cause it's like sometimes there's no other word.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
You
authentic.
want it to mean the right thing, but when it does, it works. But
We make a new word up for it between us. There has to be
yeah,
another word, a high vibe word for it. But it's right. It's tuning. A phrase that I use on repeat is like tuning into you. It's
yeah,
pulling it back, tuning into you, and things like the disco energy. You know, in here I've got these on a neon vibe. Somebody said felt like a nightclub that I was in that, and I was like, do you know what? I love that because
I love it.
it's even though it's a bit dark and dingy, it actually energizes me being in here. This is my
Mm,
space. So I think sometimes it's tuning back to ourselves, isn't it? It's maybe the
yeah.
music that we listen to.
Mm.
It's something, little things during the day. And let's chat about you, Joe, actually. Let's put the spotlight back on you. I always like to do this because we can chat about the people who help, but I love just to put it back there
Great.
because I always feel so uncomfortable. It's like, it's a good thing for you to do. But you know, what energizes you? So you've got the disco vibe. So say if you were having a day where it felt like a bit of a slog, because we all have them. We can be
Yeah,
high energy, but we're all gonna have these days with
yeah.
life that feel a bit low. What do you do to pick yourself up?
So I do listen to music. Music is a massive thing. So I would put some really high energy music on. That would definitely help. But then I also need some space to think. So I find that if I'm really busy, or if I'm really stressed, or if I'm feeling like there's a lot of heaviness, I actually just need to give my brain some thinking space. So I might go running. I love running for clearing my head. I might just get out. We're really lucky where we live here, and lots of like countryside. So I might just get out, and everything feels more doable when you're out because everything's bigger. Like, so you find that when you're stuck in your four walls, everything feels really it's coming to get you. And as soon as you get out and you see the vastness of trees and nature, it's like, okay, right, there's a bigger world out here. It's actually not that bad. Um, so yeah, just things like that. And I do also consciously tap into. I'll go and have a little bit of an injection from people that bring me energy. So I might connect with somebody who I know will cheer me up, or who will give me that little injection of a vibe that I need. And I
Yeah.
think we're lucky that we're surrounded by lots of people like that, so you can pick on them when you need them.
Definitely. I think that's the thing. Online gets not a bad name for it, but there is a lot of noise out there, as you said. I don't know if it's me. It's interesting that you said that as well, because I feel like in this last 6 months, even the noise has been ramped up to full volume. And I'm
Mm.
thinking, is it me?
No,
Why
I
can
feel
why
like it
can I
is.
not?
I feel like everyone's just out there shouting.
Yeah. So it's almost like being an unwelcome switch. We see this all the time. You
Yeah.
must see it so many times in marketing and PR, where you have these switches and something goes into like, oh, I like this vibe now. I like this trend that's coming through. So I'm
Yeah.
really hoping that noise, that shouting, I really hope that's coming to
Mm.
an end soon. But
No, I don't think people can keep it up. It's not sustainable. So it's one of those where actually it's not real. So you can go out there and you can put all these posts out and you can go bam bam bam, yeah, I'm on it, I'm on it, I'm on it. But God, you're gonna burn out, aren't you? If that's it's got that energy to me of it's just people leading to burnout. That's what it's got written all over it.
it does, and that's how it's starting to feel, that people are just getting a bit like, oh, a bit fatigued about it, and
Yeah.
probably makes them want to hold back a little bit. I know it does with me. If there's so much noise, I'm a bit of an introvert, so I get to the point where it's like I'm going to try and shine my light, and I'm going to share my mission, my message. It gets too
Mm,
noisy, I kind of take a step back. Don't know if
mm.
you do that, or you probably people that come to you that do that as well, that it's too much and they just
It's too much,
retreat.
so you go and hide. But actually, what you've just got to think about is I'm not trying to compete with that, or that volume of content, or that, or even that message of whatever they're putting out. It just you need to have that moment of just thinking about what is it that I need to say right now in my own way. And less is more. Like, it's just say something that really connects with somebody, or share something really genuine. That's definitely a better move than just being out there just blah blah blahing for the sake of it.
But it is, sometimes I literally will go on the doom scroll sometimes, or you just go onto there and you're like, oh no, step away. But I think what I missed my mark there was that it's finding the right people. So in that noise, it's finding your little gems, your
Yes. Yeah.
people. And how do you do that? How do you shut up from the noise, but to just go on there on social media we're talking about, but connect
Mm.
with those people and almost shut out the noise? Are you quite good at doing that now? Do you just go to the people you need?
Well, to be honest, I get tagged in a lot of things. So I tend to use my time on social to go and actually look at people that we are connected with properly, that we are working with, that we're in collaboration with, that we're celebrating. So I put my time there. I don't do so much of the general scrolling. Yeah, because I just feel like I know like where my circles are and my pockets of people who are doing good things, and that's who I want to be around. So
That's so
yeah.
key. It's knowing the right people for you. It's knowing that who you need to disconnect from. If those people, I'll share a top tip, and I'm not always good at doing this. It takes me a little while because I get a bit of FOMO. It's like, what if I unfollow that person or snooze that
Mm,
person, and there's something that I'm missing out on?
yeah.
But I know in myself, it's like, but I can't keep listening to that.
Yeah, yeah. I do
So
that. I do that quite
it's
regularly, unfollow people. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
it's we've got that power, haven't we? So when we talk about this energy and positivity and celebrating ourselves, if there's somebody that is dragging us down a little bit
Yeah.
inadvertently, it's not their fault. They're just sharing what they feel is right. But
Yeah.
it's just unsubscribe, not
That-
unsubscribe, but unfollow, snooze. We can do that, can't we?
exactly. If that's not helpful to you and it's not gonna be a positive impact on you, then yeah, just snooze that for now. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Mini task for anyone listening. If there's people out there that are just draining you a little bit or triggering you at the minute, go and unfollow, go and snooze, whatever you need to do. But that's we're going to set a mini task there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. And one thing I was going to pick up on as well, I'm going to wrap this up quite soon, so we could chat about this all day, I'm
I
sure.
know we could be here all day.
We could. About putting that fun back in. I love that
Yeah.
you said that about bringing that joy back. We can get so bogged down with this, can't we, that we forget to, yeah, just to tune into ourselves and have that fun.
Yeah.
And I'm trying at the moment, I think I put it on my socials actually last night, that I'm going to do, I've been to Alton Towers at the weekend, I took my children, and
Right.
just to go and have that fun, that joy. And yeah, it wasn't exactly fully fun with children complaining, but I'm going to go back myself, my sister, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try and run it as an entrepreneur's day out. I thought
Oh, love it.
it's not going to be heavy, it's going to be non-networking style. We're just going to go and have fun, and then
Yeah.
maybe have a meal in the roller coaster restaurant afterwards. They deliver your
Yeah.
food on roller coasters, it's amazing.
Really? Oh my
Yes.
goodness, that's
Oh,
insane.
if you want to come, Joel, let me know. But I'm going to
Oh,
do it probably in July. I'm going to
that's
do a day
great.
out, which goes to Alton Towers, and we let loose. And in a way, it's reconnecting to that joyful side, isn't it? That we
Yes.
get so caught up in our head that even when we probably make connections, we put this maybe false sense on. We're not being
Yeah,
ourselves. And I'm thinking, Joel, that's the best
absolutely.
way. Screaming on a roller coaster, how better to be your true self.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it because then you are being genuine. That's the thing. And that's what people connect with. They connect with that genuine character of whoever it is you are. And when
Yeah.
you stop being all stressy and you stop trying to be a certain way, like I talked when I was saying I did that talk on Friday, I talked a lot about, taking that mask off of who you think you need to be and just allowing people to see you and also accepting the fact that not everyone is going to be your person, and that's fine. Do you know what? That is fine if people think that I'm ridiculous because I've got gold pom-poms and I like to wear a lot of sparkle, then fine, whatever. I don't want to be in your world. So you just have to get that little bit braver about actually thinking about who you are and being a bit more true to who you are and being able to show that a bit more regularly. And that's definitely something that I've got better with over time, but it's not easy when you come straight out of corporate because you have these two different personas, don't you, of like work me and then like home me or fun me, and those two don't normally meet. And I think that's the challenge of bringing those two more closely together. And that's actually when PR works much better because you have to celebrate yourself as a person, not just as a business owner. So important that people get to know you as an individual.
Yeah,
It
I
can
love
be
that.
hard.
And we've all done it where some people listening might still do this, where they're not sharing that true self, they're holding back, they're being a bit vanilla. Thing is
Yeah,
that when you're vanilla, who are you attracting? You're not attracting those people who are going to love that energetic or whatever side of you. You're not repelling those other people that are going to
yeah,
be like, that's not for me. But in the middle, you're in a void, aren't you? By not
yeah.
even
That's a
doing
bad
that,
place to be.
it is, isn't it? You're not even attracting anyone. You're not repelling them, but you're not attracting. And you're like,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
repel. I always say to people, get used to it. Maybe share an unpopular opinion, and the people that aren't for you might push back against it. So
yeah.
in a
You'll
way,
find
that's
your
good.
people. Yeah, I'm all for that. Absolutely, all for that.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up soon, but I'm going to chat about I'm still looking mesmerized by your digital. I think AB on YouTube is probably
Grasping
seeing me
you.
sort of drifting off every now and again in like a trance. It's funny actually. I wore today, but you can't see it on camera, so it just looks like I'm wearing a really badly sized thing. I'm going to show people on the thing.
Oh,
I've got a t-shirt.
yay. Oh, it's perfect.
My
Oh,
earrings.
I love it.
Let's talk about your event. So this will be out before the
Yeah.
event. I'm really hoping to make it to this because it
I
is
hope you can.
absolutely my jam. I will wear, Joe, if I come to this, there's going to be sequins. I've got these hot pink sequin trousers I wear.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh,
Yes.
I could probably go next level for that. I love, say, disco sequin. But talk us about this event, because again, when we're talking about corporate to being ourselves, to being this, bring this energy, you couldn't get any more different, can you? Can you imagine that sort of event, which I'm going to let you talk about in a second, bringing that sort of event to corporate? They would just be like, what the?
Yeah.
Talk us
Well,
through it, just so
this is the joy, isn't it? That we get to do what suits us. So you won't be able to see because it'll be backwards, but this is our invitation.
Love it.
So, we're going full on party vibe. And 20 years in business, it's not to be scoffed at, is it? So it's something to celebrate. But we thought, well, I don't just want to do an event where we teach you how to do PR. We don't just want to do an event where it's like, come and mingle and network. We want to make it ours. And we want to have all these opportunities to celebrate you within the day. So that's what it's going to be. So we're keeping our cards quite close to our chest in terms of what's involved. But there's lots of activities. There's lots of things that you might imagine happens at a party, at the event. It's not corporate, like sit and take notes situation. There will definitely be dancing. There'll be definitely a chance to celebrate you. We've got photographers coming. There'll be gorgeous photos being taken. Yeah, it's not in a corporate venue either, so it's very much in a party environment, let's say.
Oh, I'm so there. I just need to sort childcare. That's the only thing. Fridays I normally have my girls, but there are ways and means. So I'm 90% sure I'm going to be there.
Still. You've got a bit of time still. Yeah, 28th of June. So
that's it. I was going to say, what's the date? Actually, we've not actually shared the date there.
20th of June in Leeds City Centre. Yeah, so it's a party in the day, like it's a daytime party basically. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I had this idea of I seem to think that this thing, it's very ADHD, where I'll have an idea and then I don't fully always go with it. But I had this idea about like a rave. I think I called it Rave and Reconnect or something like that. And it was very similar, like daytime disco, because that's another thing, isn't it? The people that we work with are probably 40 plus and we just can't do the nighttime raving anymore, can we?
No, that's become a real thing. Something popped up on my Facebook the other day. I think it was literally called daytime disco or something like that. And it was like a disco that started at like 5 o'clock or maybe 2 o'clock until 7 or 8 or something. So yeah, that's actually a thing.
I think it was in Sheffield, actually, wasn't it? It was somebody quite well known in the media that I can't remember who it was. But yeah, I love that you're doing that. Have you disclosed the venue yet, or is that top secret?
It's still secret at the moment. So it's a Leeds City Centre venue and it's a party venue. That's all we're going to say at the minute.
Ooh, I used to go many years ago to Leeds. I'm trying to think now, maybe.
Where could it be? Yeah.
Well, we'll keep people posted. What we'll do, we'll put all your links in the show notes, Joe, and then there'll be a link to that event. So this will be out before that event. Do check it out. I am so sure I will be there. Joe will obviously be there as the hostess.
Yeah, you hope so.
Your disco. Have you got a disco outfit?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I have. You've seen it. In fact, if you've seen any of my recent brand pictures, it's that gold jumpsuit that I am donning in those. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So yeah, fellow loving disco queens, please do come and be part of this because it sounds amazing. And it'd be fab I was gonna say fab to meet you in person, but I did meet you years ago in Manchester when I was doing something totally different.
Yeah.
I just straight away loved that energy again. And I've loved following your journey, actually, sort of seeing it come from that little bit quieter to making that
true.
noise.
You definitely have been there throughout a lot of that. Yeah, that's interesting actually.
Yeah, I only thought of that then. I was like, actually, yeah, I've seen it. So I want to be there to celebrate with you. So yeah, do check that out. And this is just so cheesy, but celebrating you, Joe. This is your time to shine. How does that feel?
It feels weird. I'm not going to lie. It does still feel weird. And I think I will be happier when I'm celebrating my clients on the day than the bit where it gets pointed at me. But we have to take on board what we've achieved. And I do take on board that I have achieved a fair bit over the years. So it's time for me to also celebrate that.
Maybe I'll be on standby as a bit of a stage gate crasher. If I realise you're switching it too much, I might come and get the microphone.
I'll give you an extra pom-pom just in case, and then you can
cheat you on. Oh, this has been so fab. I knew it'd be a really, really brilliant chat. Do check out all of Jo's links. Do come to the event if you can and just connect with Jo, buy her book and just everything.
Yes,
celebrating.
part of my world.
Yeah, have you got the book there on YouTube? We'll give a quick sort of shout out to it again. There we go.
Celebrating You with PR. It's on Amazon, yes.
Love it. We'll put all that below as well. But yeah, thank you, and we'll catch up soon. I will, fingers crossed, see you in Leeds in June.
Yes. Awesome.
We'll connect before then. But yeah, thank you so much. You've been such a brilliant guest.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Bye.